This is a lesson on harmonics on classical guitar, and this comes from my new technique book. There's a link for that under the video, but I think you can watch the video and learn most of it for free, just as an introduction to harmonics. So we're going to be covering common harmonics on the guitar, ones that you'll see pop up in a lot of traditional repertoire and slightly modern repertoire as well. But if you're looking for a real in-depth study of harmonics on the classical guitar, or on the guitar in general, check out Seth Josel's book on the techniques of guitar playing, which has a huge section on harmonics, very in-depth, goes into the theory behind them and everything that you need to know about it. This is more geared towards composers and more advanced guitarists that are interested in extended techniques. But it also covers lots of traditional material as well. But for a more in-depth view of harmonics, check this book out. My book is for students in the range of like grade 1 to grade 9 who are they really want to just like get some practice playing common left and right hand harmonics to make sure that when they encounter them in pieces and repertoire, that they'll be able to play them and they'll be a little bit familiar with the idea. So that said, check out either book depending on your level. So first thing, some terminology. I'm going to be using the terms natural harmonics and artificial harmonics. I'm using those terms because they're widely used in the guitar world, but they're not the best terms actually, because they're all of the sounds we're going to make are just harmonics. Common natural harmonics or natural harmonics, maybe a better term would be left hand harmonics. Taking the left hand and playing the notes, and then right hand harmonics or artificial harmonics, a better term might be right hand harmonics. I'm sure you've heard people do these bell-like little sounds that are harmonics and done them in different ways, so we're going to really look at that. First thing we're going to do is I'm just going to give you a lesson on everything that's in the book and show you some harmonics, and then I'll take the camera, get in a little bit closer, and just do some close-ups of my hands, just in case you're a little unclear. You can get a closer view. So, common natural harmonics. And again, I'm going to call these natural harmonics, but maybe a better term would be left-hand harmonics on open strings, or open string harmonics if you like. So the first group, we're going to do natural harmonics at the 12th fret. These are very common, and the ones at the 12th fret sound one octave higher than the open string. Make sure when you're playing the note that you go right over top of the metal, the actual metal fret, the 12th fret here, and then make sure you're touching the string, but you're not pushing down too hard. You're just touching the string lightly and then not pushing it down towards the metal fret. So you place it on the string and touch it, and then strike with the right hand. If you're a millimeter off, it's not going to sound good. But if you're right on it, it'll sound pretty clear. Just remember, you have to be right over top of the metal and not pushing too hard. You can leave your finger down, or you can take it off after, but it has to ring out. It's a very specific spot. So that sounds one octave higher than the open string. Harmonics at the 7th fret. These are also very, very common. These sound a perfect fifth above the octave of the open string. So it's the open string plus an octave plus a fifth. Again, right over top of the metal at the 7th fret. Very common as well. Harmonics at the 5th fret. Also common, but not as common. These sound 2 octaves above the open string. So you can think of like E, E, E. So 2 octaves above. And of course we must use the octave above symbol on the notation because otherwise we'd be way up in ledger lines, way too much. Natural harmonics at the 4th fret, these are less common. They're a little harder to hit, but they're still very useful. They sound a major third 2 octaves up from the open string. So 2 octaves plus a major third. Now with these ones, it can be helpful to play slightly before the fret, and I'm talking millimeters, so like a millimeter before the fret. Helps it ring out a little bit more clearly. If you're having trouble getting these to sound, try going a little bit more ponticello with your right hand. That sometimes helps it become a little bit more clear. Harmonics at the 3rd fret, these sound a perfect 5th 2 octaves above the open string. So 2 octaves plus a 5th. If you're unfamiliar with the music theory, don't worry about it. Just try these out. You'll be a little bit more familiar with them. With the 3rd fret harmonics, play slightly after the fret, a millimeter after the fret. So this way. These are much less commonly used because they're just a little bit harder to hit, and it's just such a high note that it's just not used as often, depending on what piece you're playing. Some contemporary pieces really dive into extended harmonics. Just so you know, a lot of these harmonics can be played way up here on the guitar as well. So like these harmonics at the 12th fret, at the 7th fret, can be played at the 19th fret as well. And some of these can even be played like kind of around the sound hole as well. Now, we don't really have to worry about that very much, but just so you know, that is a possibility. So this 5th fret harmonic here, which is 2 octaves above, can also be played near the sound hole, but because you don't have frets, it's very hard to nail that. With some contemporary pieces, we take a felt marker and we mark the string sometimes just to get all the different harmonics that we need up there. But like I said, cover those natural harmonics or left-hand harmonics just to get an idea of how they work and get some practice doing them. If you want to dive in way deeper, you can look at that other book. Now, artificial harmonics. Maybe a better term for these would be right-hand harmonics because they're the same harmonics. There's no difference between this sound or this sound. But nevertheless, like I said, it's a very common term, so I'm using it. Okay, let's first just try doing this at the 12th fret. So what we do here, instead of placing the harmonic with or the node with our left-hand finger, like on the 3rd string here at the 12th fret, we take our index finger, or any finger, but I'm going to use my index finger. So instead of this, we put our index finger there, and then with the A finger, I'm going to pluck that note. So instead of this, I'm going to use my index finger and my A finger to pluck the note. So let's try some of these. At the 12th fret, 3rd string, and then the 2nd string at the 12th fret, then the 1st string at the 12th fret. We can do that at the 7th fret too. Whoops. So again, instead of doing this, I'm placing the harmonic with my index finger, and then plucking with my A finger. By splitting the string length in half, we get an octave above sound. So for example, the open string is the same as, is 1 octave above at the 12th fret. If I play an F, so I put my first finger on F down here, and I go over the 13th fret, I can get an F harmonic. If I put an F sharp and go over the 14th fret, get an F sharp, G, G sharp. So as long as I'm cutting that string length in half, I'm going to get an octave above. So 12 frets up. So open string, 1st fret, 13th fret, 2nd fret, 14th fret, 3rd fret, 15th, etc., etc. We can play entire scales this way if we're comfortable navigating where the notes are. So what you have to imagine though up here is like, where's my C in relationship to my C here? So if you imagine this as the open strings, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, then 3rd fret here is 3rd fret here, and there's your harmonic. We could even do chords, and I love doing these chords. I'll do the actual example. Let me show you the actual example in the book. This is arpeggios with artificial harmonics. So there, I'm just placing my A minor chord and then playing the notes that are A minor up here. So open string, 2nd fret. Of course, it's not the 2nd fret up here, but it's the equivalent, 12th fret, 13th fret, 14th fret. Kind of get these like Danny Elfman kind of sounding like bell-like sounds, almost like movie music or something. Of course, how comfortable you are with that. I do a lot of pieces with harmonics, so I've had some experience with that. It might take you a little while to get really comfortable with that. So just take it nice and slow and get used to doing those the different harmonics with right hand. Just become comfortable with that, and then you can try doing chord shapes. So what I'll do now is I'll take the camera off, put it up a little bit closer, and you can just see like a nice up close look at how we play these harmonics. So here's a closer up view, and let's just take a quick peek at this. So if I put my finger right over top of the fret, and I'm not pushing it down, I'm not going like this, but I'm putting it just touching the string lightly, get a nice clear sound. If my finger's off, see how that's not ringing out. It has to be right over top of the middle. Same thing with the right hand harmonic. We put our index finger there, and we pluck with this finger. If I get my 2nd finger out of the way there, you might ask why we don't use our 2nd finger. It's just because you want some distance between the finger touching the node and then where you're plucking. The greater the distance you have, so if you bring your A finger down here, the more clearly it'll ring out. A minor, or E major. You can do any chord, of course. This works anywhere on the guitar. So that's just a basic introduction. There's other harmonics on the guitar that we didn't really talk about much. But you can get a much more in-depth view later on. Practice those for now and get good at them and go from there.